Dr. Lisa Nee's going to be joining us virtually, and she's based out of the University of California, San Francisco, where she'll be presenting the preliminary results of a pilot study of a virtual interactive radiation oncology specific residents as teachers curriculum.
Thank you so much. So yes, my name is Lisa Nee, and I'm a PGY4 resident at UCSF, and I'm really thrilled to be here to present some of our results. This is a project that is very near and dear to my heart. I've been working on it for a while now. It is still very much a work in progress. So let's get started. If I can advance the slide. I'm not sure how many slides I advanced. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay. So to give some background, a few years ago, we conducted a targeted needs assessment of US radiation oncology residents that defined their current needs and goals regarding development of teaching skills. What we found is that radiation oncology residents desire formal training and teaching for settings and audiences that are specific to their specialty. There do exist many well-designed residents as teachers programs for other specialties, and they have been shown to improve interest, confidence, and competency in teaching. However, there are limitations to the currently existing curricula, including that a lot of them are only partially available publicly. They require significant resources to run, and there are limited practical examples, and when they do exist, they're often not applicable to the radiation oncology setting. So last year, we presented a proposed pilot study that would be a RADONC-specific residents as teacher curriculum. And I'm going to try to advance the slide. Okay, so here are the learning outcomes for that curriculum overall. First is that the learners would be able to develop skills for teaching medical students rotating in radiation oncology. Second, create an inclusive teaching environment in the interdisciplinary setting. Third, prepare and deliver organized, relevant, and interactive presentations. And finally, develop and practice a structure for giving, receiving, and utilizing feedback on teaching skills. And I think the proposed pilot study was supposed to be 1 year long, but what I found through this experience is that it takes much longer than expected. So I'm presenting the prelim results from the first module from this curriculum. So the first module was teaching medical students in the outpatient radiation oncology clinic, and it was implemented in November 2022. All radiation oncology trainees at a single institution were invited to voluntarily participate in this study, and that was 13 eligible trainees. And self-assessment questionnaires prior to the intervention and anonymous questionnaires post-intervention were sent out evaluating their experience with the module. So I'm including screenshots from the didactic portion of this module, but this is showing the learning objectives from this first module specifically. So after this module, learners would be able to explain what makes a good teacher, create an effective learning environment for medical students, describe teaching techniques that can be used in different scenarios in clinic, radiation oncology clinic specifically, and effectively deliver 1-minute teaching in clinic. So this is an example of one of the activities from the video didactic. So on the left here, you can see that learners were presented with an example case, which is a 61-year-old patient with a newly diagnosed glioblastoma. They were asked to think of 2 example teaching points and list them in an online form that they were provided with. And then on the right, you can see that in the next section, we describe what makes a good teaching point and then provide a few examples of what a good teaching point is. Here are the additional resources that were provided for the first module. On the left, a self-assessment tool that learners could print out for the next time that they're teaching a medical student in clinic. It's essentially a checklist of the teaching practices taught during the video didactic. So for example, prepping the student prior to clinic, teaching the student during a standard clinic day, And then there's a specific section for teaching during a busy clinic day, which is a scenario that is very familiar to residents. And then on the right, you can see we included resources and references in a PDF document, and it includes links to these high yield references that can illuminate more details about this topic. And they're all references that were specifically cited during the didactic. Here are the results from the self-assessment questionnaire, which was sent out prior to the module. So 8 out of 13 eligible trainees participated, so that was 62%. There were participants across all levels of training. 75% had no prior training in teaching before residency, and the median self-assessment score of overall teaching performance on a scale of 0 to 10 was 6.5. And then here are some of the key results from the post-module survey that we sent out, which was anonymous. All respondents were very likely or somewhat likely to change their teaching practices based on the module. And all respondents rated 8 or higher on a scale of 0 to 10 for likelihood to recommend the module to other RADONC trainees. So in summary of these prelim results, these results indicate the feasibility of implementing the first module that is asynchronous virtual within this radiation oncology specific residents as teachers series at a single institution. All participants were likely to change their teaching practices after the module and were highly likely to recommend the module to other trainees. Future directions that I'm actively working on include expanding the curriculum to include other teaching topics, including participants from other institutions, and determining how this curriculum impacts participant teaching confidence and quality. So I'd love to thank this team that's been working with me for basically my whole residency now on this project, especially my mentor, Dr. Steve Bronstein. I'd like to thank UCSF Innovations Funding for a seed grant that funded this research. And then, of course, I want to thank ROECSG for providing this forum for me to present. And then I'll just leave my contact info up there. You can also send me your contact info through QR code. If you want to hear more about this, talk more about this offline, I'm always happy to chat. And I know it's the end of the day, so thank you so much for everyone for paying attention to my talk.